Hello everyone, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves rolling rights.
Which are board games.
Got him.
Always trick me. Well, this is our Check It Out series where we showcase various games to you in hopes of inspiring you to play them. And today we have a rolling right.
If we didn't give that away already, blah 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 blah.
No wish.
No wish. We'll be taking a look at a new Phil Walker Harding game called Explorers.
Explorers.
Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. Well, like I said, Explorers is designed by Phil Walker Harding. The art is done by Sabrina Miramon, and the publisher is Ravensburger.
In Explorers, you'll take a role of an explorer.
What?
Trudging through all the lands, collecting various points through various ways. But we'll tell you a little bit more in this quick overview of how to play. Now, for the purpose of this video, we'll be showing you setup as recommended for your first game. You'll set up your board in an identical way to everybody else, making sure the terrain tiles and the scoring tiles match exactly. Once you've done that, you'll cross out the village closest to the center. This will be your starting place. Each player will then choose one terrain type and mark 3 spaces with an X, starting with the initial village. The game consists of 4 rounds, and each round is played in 7 turns. At the beginning of each round, the first player will shuffle the 8 exploration tiles and set one aside face down. And now you're ready to play. Now each turn consists of 2 phases. The first phase is when the active player chooses a terrain type. The active player will draw the exploration card and choose which of the terrains they want to cross off on their map. They'll orient it so that terrain faces them. Now it's the second phase. All players place their X's. This is done simultaneously. The active player, of course, places 3 X's of the chosen type that they've chosen that is facing them. However, everybody else has a choice. They can place 2 X's of the same terrain type chosen by the active player, or place 3 X's of a terrain type that the active player did not choose. Now, each X placed in the same turn must be of the same terrain type, unless you've chosen a wild, in which case you can cross off 2 terrain types for that turn. Now, as you're exploring the map, you'll be collecting various objects that provide various bonuses for you. Let's go over them. If you come across a key, you'll circle it in the top here. Now, keys are used to unlock temples and can be used at any point you have a temple. You'll cross off that temple and score points. Now, speed is a factor here, as you'll get more points if you cross off the temple before your opponents. Now, a scroll you can use on later turns to ignore the terrain type on an exploration card. Instead, you'll be able to cross off 4 spaces of a single terrain type of your choice. Now, horse immediately allows you to place an X in any terrain space of your choice, next to an already existing X, of course. Now, provisions will score you points. Once you cross off a provision on the map, you'll cross them off on your scoring pad corresponding to the round that they were discovered. And provisions are scored for how many you can contain in a round. So for example, if you obtained 2 in that round, you'll get 5 points at the end of the game. Now when you cross off a gemstone on the map, you'll cross out the gemstone on your scoring tile. At the end of each round, each player will count the total of their gemstones and gain points 1 per gemstone. So it's better to cross up gemstones earlier in the game as you'll obtain more points. Now at the end of the round, once all 7 exploration cards have been played, each player will count their provisions and gemstones, record their points, and get ready for the next round. Now at the end of the 4 rounds, you're ready for final scoring. You'll tally up your points for your provisions, gemstones, and temples, as well as your villages. Now you'll count the number of X's placed in the single squares above, below, and to the sides of each of the village space. Depending on how many X's you've placed is how many points you'll score. So for example, if you've placed 2, that'll be 5 points. Where if you've placed all of 4, then you get 10. You'll tally up your points and the player with the most wins. So what did you think?
I like it. I'm not surprised by it at all. I think that it's a well done game, well done roll and write. It hits all those like boxes that typical roll and writes would hit for me.
Yeah, very standard but high quality roll and write in my opinion. I love a lot of various factors that it brings in. The combos are fantastic. It makes my heart happy. And it's a dry erase, which is always a win because...
Reusability.
Exactly.
Reusability.
Except when Tyler doesn't erase the dry erase and then I have to like take it off.
This man over here thinks that I'm the messy one.
Well, what are some of the comparables that we have to Explorers? What games would you compare them to?
Oh yeah, I have a good comparable. Right off the bat, that this game reminds me of Trails of Tucana.
How come?
Because you're doing the same actions where you're like flipping. Well, in Trails of Tucana, you flip 2 cards, and then you have to pick between the 2 on
No,
which
you have to
ones.
connect them.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, you have to connect them. But in this one, you flip one of the tiles and it has 2, and depending on the orientation, you end up picking the one in front of you or the one on the opposite side of you.
So you can
at
choose
a
which
loss.
one you want. Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. It's kind of cool because you get to like choose between those different terrain types, and ultimately what you're trying to do is create paths that unlock you things.
So make it difficult for your opponents.
Uh-huh.
You can also play at the same time.
So I think this one for me, Explorers, if you like Trails of Tucana and you're looking for like something a little bit more like competitive or slightly more complicated, I think Explorers like is that step up.
Tiny step
up. Yeah.
Not a huge step up, but definitely a tiny step up. I agree with that. I think I tried really hard thinking outside of roll and writes because it's really easy to compare to other roll and writes that do combos.
True.
Yeah. So the comparison that I came up with is Karuba from Haba. So, and the reason I chose it is because of that trail building. You're really trying to build the optimal trails to get you the most points through various combos. You're trying to get the key to get the temple first, so you get the more points there as well. So there's a lot of like comparability there and just like trying to get the best trail.
Yeah, I like that because it's like a race to the temples. If you get there first, you get more points. Yeah, that's a good comparable. Yeah. Well, with the comparables out of the way, why should people check this one out?
Well, for me, the one thing that makes it stand apart in the roll and write genre is it has this really neat insertable board that has kind of the variability to it, but you basically build your game by flipping tiles, by putting the ones in that you want to put in. There's a lot of variability there, which is another really good point. But I've never seen a game that has, here's like the insert, then you can put all the things in to like make your game essentially.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that on top of that, when you're placing the board, or when you're basically setting up, like I think that's a very engaging experience where it's not just like, oh, I have my board, I can do my own thing, and then wait until the game is set up to go. There's like a whole process towards it where everybody has to place the tiles the same way, like cross off the same temple, and everybody has to be like paying attention to that. So it really...
Same village.
Yeah, same village, sorry. And it really like gets everybody in the mindset for the game.
Yeah, it's always nice when setup is a collective experience because if one player is doing it, you lose people right off the bat, so you don't want to do that. And I guess the last thing that we can talk about is just the modularity and the replayability of this game. There's various scoring modules. There's also 8 tiles that you can choose from to put in. So, and the way you twist, like you can twist them in 4 different directions in 4 different places.
Yep.
So no map is going to be the same.
Yeah, most likely there are definitely a lot of combinations that you can create there. And you can flip the main board over, right?
Yeah.
So that it turns into a different, like,
scoring
harder mode. Is it a
I think
more
it adjusts the
complicated mode, or is
scoring a little bit too. And each style has a different scoring mode as well. So there's some cool, more complex ways to play the game. There's just a lot of game in here, which I really like.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good point. There's also, like, just to reiterate, I guess, is like, it is a roll. Well, it's a standard like flip and write. So, like my point being is that it fits all those boxes. So if you really enjoy roll and writes, I think that this is like a very good game. And then on top of that, the plus for Explorers for me is that there is a bit of competition within the game instead of like everybody's doing their own thing, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins.
Yeah. Competing for the temples.
Exactly.
Well, why should you not check this game out?
Kind of like I guess a backhanded comment to what I was just talking about is it feels to me that it doesn't do much different than what most roll and writes do. So if you're trying to look for like something that's gonna wow you because it is innovative in the roll and write space, then I don't think Explorers is that game. That doesn't mean it's not a good game. It's a roll and write.
We're roll and write snobs now.
Apparently, yeah.
But even us, like I think we like this game, but I think it's just like combination aspect. Yeah. Like it does what a lot of roll and writes do. You get combos, you get specific things, you get more points to them. There's some races. There's a lot of elements put together. It's put together very nicely, but if it's an experience you're not looking for, then this game might not be for you.
And there's tons of roll and writes out there. Like
If the
if
the
the
theme,
theme
is
really
not
speaks
your-
to you, sure. But if the theme is not for you, then like there might be another one out there for you.
It's hard. It's hard. This is a really good game, so it's hard to find different things to kind of say why not to check it out.
Yeah, I can't think of much to say besides that point. I guess like the other thing I would say is we've talked about this before, that roll and writes tend to sit on the lighter side of games. And then like we particularly like when we can find like those middle meaty roll and writes, and then those heavier roll and writes. This one definitely falls on the lighter side. So if you are trying to look for a more meatier game, I don't think Explorers will hit that tick box for you.
And last but not least, as with any roll and writes, there's a factor of luck. There's a factor that you might not get what you need for it to have flipped. So if that leaves you frustrated, if it's not a genre you're into, then this game may not be for you.
That is a very good point.
But overall thoughts?
Really good. I like that it has a solo mode too, and I don't think the solo mode veers off much from what the game actually is, so I'm excited to maybe give that a go. But other than that, I think we're just lovers of roll and writes, so like when we get into it, when we get into it, we're just like looking for certain things, and it ticks the box for us.
And we love Phil Walker Harding. He makes a lot of games we really enjoy, so this is definitely unlike the other. Not like this one is like
some of these things are not like the other, except this game
fits.
It
fits the other one. So yeah, really enjoy Explorers. It's a game that we definitely would encourage you to check out.
Yeah, this one's gonna stay on our shelf. We're excited to show. We love the theme. There's a lot about this game that it speaks to us.
Yes.
It speaks to us.
Now for our question of the day, what has been your favorite place you've explored?
Oh, interesting.
And
Does it have to be like natural stuff?
Could
or
be your
like,
armpit.
Oh.
It could be anything you want it to be. What would yours be?
What? Okay, well, you know what? Because we're doing this, I will go out and say this. When I was in high school, I got to explore a frog by dissecting it. That was fun.
I guess. Well, we got to explore France a few years ago, and it was a very nice trip.
This is the standard answer that I would imagine he was going for when he first asked it. But
yeah, it was a very lovely trip. We got to go to a bunch of different cities, and we're excited to go traveling again soon.
Oh my goodness, yes, I want to go to Europe, somewhere in Europe. That's about it. It's just like historical there.
What have you explored, and what have you learned from your exploration?
There you go. Well, until next time, be sure to give us that thumbs up if you like this video and hit that subscribe button, because we make videos every week and we love building a community around talking about board games.
Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Exactly. This is us. Check it out. Bye.